Hi everyone, welcome back to If My Heart Had Wings, Amane's Route, Episode 6. So, the good thing with Episode 5 is that Aoi was able to confess to Amane and vice versa. So, there was this perfect opportunity when Aoi fell asleep in the garage and the other girls decided to leave Aoi behind with Amane, and that gave them the perfect opportunity to talk to each other about how they feel. And also, in episode 5, we see that Amane is once again with her bad habits. So this time, once again, she sleeps in the garage, and as a result, Aoi decides to have Amane sleep at the Flying Fish Manor, which is quite interesting because Amane is a teacher and not a student. So I'm sure Amane doesn't really like her lab work, and it's probably because it involves subjects that Amane is not interested in. So we know that Amane likes airfoils, wings, and windmill blades, as opposed to chemistry, which is what her father does. And she brought in all the drafting equipment to the Flying Fish Manor. So anyways, putting that aside, we're back in the garage, and I don't know why Masatsugu is here, but let's find out. So he's like,
アゲハ、こここんなもんでいいか？
オッケー、上手上手。あーちゃん、こっちは？
okay, so Hotaru is here too.
さすがはマイシフター。いい感じだよ。
So Masatsugu and Hotaru came to help. Okay, and the restoration of the craft was going very smoothly. Of course, Hotaru is going to come help, but I never expected Masatsugu to come by.
ちっくしょう、騙されたぜ。
Huh?
お前に彼女ができたって言うから見に来たんだよ。そしたら、はい手伝ってだもんな。
I wonder why Masatsugu is interested.
あの人だよね。青兄の彼女さん。
So Hotaru points to the other side of the garage.
ここの潤滑を良くすることでこっちの関節が。
She's working now. Unaware of the rumors being said about her Amane, so Amane was staring at the computer screen and muttering something to herself. So Hotaru and Masatsugu both know Amane, but it appears that they have no idea that it was this person who is my girlfriend. Well, I guess it is a little unexpected.
綺麗な人だよね。すごく優しいし。
くっそ、いいな。美人な上に年上かよ。
So I've heard that Masatsugu broke up with the girlfriend he used to brag about. Oh, okay. So this was the Eri-chan that he keeps talking about. And in the common route, it was because their music differences were so extreme that they just couldn't get along. And once again, same reason.
ほらほら、だべってないで作業に集中する。
んだ、誰も手伝うなんて言ってねえのによ。
While muttering complaints, Masatsugu keeps moving. So all in all, he's a good and friendly guy. Okay, so going to the simulator, we had plenty of help so I could focus on the simulator. So flight seems more difficult to control than before. The improvements. And the tendencies it had are accentuated. And since the aircraft was designed for the express purpose of flying the Morning Glory, of course that goes without saying. So everyone is making the glider Amane is designing. and I will pilot this. And they're going to let me go to the best part I cannot afford to fail. So we can't let it come within grasp and then slip away before our eyes like it did last year. Okay, so thinking about that again brings back bitter memories and breaks my concentration. So, okay, not enough training. So looking ahead, blurrily, I saw Mane, who I expected to be working, holding and gazing at the picture frame that was on the desk. So what is she doing more than that? So I walked up from behind and peeked at the photo with her. So there are some amazing clouds, huh? Well, I can't understand why Iska longed for them. So her reply sounded ambiguous. Huh? So looking at this picture, I had a strange thought.
どうした?
Oh, nothing. So it's just that last year we saw that cloud, and I was thinking, could it have been the morning glory?
Eh?
Well, it's like, if you look at it this way, doesn't it look totally different? So housed in the small photograph was the magnificent figure of the clouds. And outside the frame of this photo must have been an even more amazing sight. So compared to this one, the clouds we saw last year were beautiful, but still... So what's the problem? So maybe I'm thinking too hard about this. So whether it's a mere difference in size, or perhaps the picture was just taken very well. Whatever the case, clouds like these are not a dime a dozen. So what now? Well, I'm sorry about that, so I didn't really mean anything by this. So I apologized and went back to the simulator. And for a time, Amane looked at the photograph. So I wonder what's wrong. And just like that, the summer vacation passed before our eyes. And when I noticed the Aubon Festival was looming just ahead. And on that day... Okay, so the glider has been modified and repainted, and we can see that it has light green stripes instead of blue stripes. So here you go. So the wings assembled but unpainted are finished, or were they unfinished? So the wings are actually painted and ready to go, and the only thing left is to install it.
まあそれが大変なんだけどね。もうこんなにできていたのか。
Well, I can't believe we've done this much. So mine looks over every nook and cranny of the newly assembled wings.
よくできてる。加工技術も完璧じゃないか。
So it looks good.
あんちゃん直伝ですから。ねえ、どんな気分？自分が設計したものが形になるのって。
So don't forget, you designed this.
そうだな。
So mine looks troubled.
この人の場合、もう何度も経験してるんじゃないかしら。そっか、そういうお仕事だもんね。
Okay.
そうか、ジェ。
So Kotori seems bored. So we all wanted her to be as happy as we are. Well, that's how I felt too. けど不思議な感覚だ。こうして
少しずつ形になっていくのを見ていると気分が高揚する。
So the fact that, well, this was a drawing in the past, and now I can see the real thing. But faintly, her eyes are glimmering. So when we all saw that, Kotori and then all of us, our eyes started glimmering too.
これが空を飛ぶところが早く見たいぞ。そう来なくちゃ。
So hearing that, Ageha goes over to the wall of our workplace.
お、本。皆さん、ちょっといいですか？
So one announcement. She got everyone's attention. And on the wall, there was a chart of the process pinned. So the places where corrections had been made in red pen catches everyone's attention.
ここにいるマーボー君とホタルちゃんの助っ人のおかげもあって工期を短縮することができそうです。
Oh. So upon hearing our jeering, Ageha adds a new correction to the chart.
どのくらい縮んだの？ざっと4日。
おお、すげえじゃん。
So of course, for those 4 days, we had Masatsugu and Hotaru help, but Ageha and Kotori worked really hard, and Asa and Yoru getting into the groove of their work really helped too. So basically, they can start doing test flights 4 days ahead. So everyone felt like this, focusing every day on making the glider, or this glider was the precious school summer vacation.
ということは、はい、テストフライトも4日早くできるってことです。
There you go. Wow, wait, really? So that means right ahead, or right after Obon. So Ageha nods strongly.
もちろん、このまま何の問題も起きなきゃだけどね。
Well, if they have problems, it's good to find out early.
今まで通り焦らず慎重に進めるべきだと思うわ。
だな。余裕あるからってヘマこくよりリードした分丁寧にやった方がいいだろ。
マー君、早く終わらせて遊びたいって言ってたのに。
俺は単にここまで手伝ったんだから半端なことになるのが嫌なだけだよ。
というわけでテストフライトは今月15日に行います。
So for everyone, there was a raucous chorus of joy. So I can finally fly. Yep. And my voice bled excitement as I witnessed, or I whispered to myself. So 1 year since we were chased from this garage. And we can finally fly the skies over Kazugura. So what about for Amane? So while everyone else was happy, Amane alone appears lost in thought. So, what's wrong, Amane?
実はな、私からもみんなに話があるんだ。
So everyone quiets down and looks to Amane.
先日、葵くんが話してただろう。モーニンググローリーについて。
And so what did I say?
言ってたじゃないか。去年私たちが飛んだあの雲が本当にモーニンググローリーだったのかって。
Yeah? So it just come to me, so I had already forgotten about it.
それでちょっと気になって調べてみたんだ。
So Amane went to her seat and turned the computer monitor so that everyone could see. So they're displayed on the screen side by side where the photo and the video scans the alumni took of last year's Flight 2.
こっちの雲。私たちが去年の夏、風車の丘から見た雲だわ。
So Asa and Yoru went to Windmill Hill that day and saw these clouds. and it's such an impressive scene, they must remember it very easily.
この写真がどうかしたんですか？
So what about the photo?
ここに写っている2つの雲はよく似ている。だから私も疑わなかった。これらけれど、葵くんは違うかもしれないと言っていた。それが気になって調べてみたんだ。
Hold on, went too fast, so let's see.
ここに写っている2つの雲はよく似ている。だから私も疑わなかった。これらが違う現象かもしれないとは。
Okay. So not understanding what Amane was talking about, everyone listens silently.
厳密に言うと、あの雲はモーニンググローリーとは呼べないものだった。どういうことですか？発生のメカニズムは似ているが、規模が全然違う。
So it's not the same.
あの雲はモーニンググローリーになろうとして、しかし何かが足りず途中で消えてしまった、いわば出来損ないだったんだ。
A runt. So I looked closely at the photos lined up on the screen. So surely the scale was different, or rather it was that the cloud we saw last year appeared to be in the process of becoming a morning glory.
じゃあ去年起きたんだから、もうしばらくは起こらないって言ってたあれは。
So that is what Amane said to us when she refused to be our advisor.
あれは間違いだった。近いうちに起こる可能性がある。あの雲こそが今年の夏に本物のモーニンググローリーが現れる予兆だったんだ。
So upon further investigation, that's probably a hint that the real morning glory is coming soon. So Amane's words were enveloped by the noisy chatter that erupted in the garage.
もちろん何か根拠があるんですよね。
Amane nods.
私が新型の風車を建てるプロジェクトに参加していることは知っていると思う。その仕事の資料として過去に観測された風ヶ浦の詳細な気象データを閲覧できるようになった。
So Amane put the data on the LCD screen before her.
それを調べてみたところ、面白いことが分かった。面白いこと？今から28年前、OB の人たちが飛んだモーニンググローリーが発生した前年の8月26日に、私と葵くんがフライトしたあの雲と同じ現象が風ヶ浦で起こっていた可能性が高い。それってどういうことですか？つまりかつて本物のモーニンググローリーが現れた前年の夏にも出来損ないの雲が現れていたってことね。
So Amane explains it's simply for those of us that can't follow along, and Yoru looks over the past weather data displayed on the screen. So the rest of us can't understand even if we look at the data, but this girl might be able to. Okay.
出来損ないの雲が発生した翌年、本物のモーニンググローリーが出現しているんだ。たまたまってことはないんですか？
So Amane shakes her head.
それが希少な現象なのだとすれば、2年連続で似た現象が起こることの方が可能性は低い。だから私はこう仮説を立ててみたんだ。あれはモーニンググローリーが出現する大きな予兆なのではないかと。
So our breath is taken away by her words, clearly stated like that. And more so than a hypothesis, we heard those words as a vague prophecy.
データを見たって私たちにはわからないけど。
So, but that prophecy, like hypothesis, had taken root in us just enough for us to believe. Well, I believe it. So, right. So none other than the prestigious Amane Mochizuki is saying it.
ただ、可能性があるというだけで必ずとは言い切れない。何せ風ヶ浦におけるモーニンググローリー発生のメカニズムは解明されていないからな。筑波山を越えてくる山岳波の影響であることは間違いないんだが、 それで十分よ。そうです。先輩にそう言っていただけただけで私ら頑張れるんですから。いい話聞かせてもらっち
So
ゃいま
anyways,
し
it's good news.
た。よーし、もうひと踏ん張りするわよ。ほんと単純ね。
俺らも最後まで付き合うか。
そうだね。青兄たちが飛んでるところ見てみたいし。
So the test flight and the morning glory that might appear this year. Our spirits and determination are inexorably rising.
いいお湯だった。
So if I remember last year about the Obon Festival, Agha had to drop out of the soaring club for a few days because that was when she was still part of the robotics club and had to get her robot ready for some tournament that they later lost. And also for Amane, it's like, well, comparing the information to the Morning Glory event many years ago, I conclude that it's very likely that Morning Glory will happen again this year. So the previous year is like a false Morning Glory, and this year it's supposed to be the actual Morning Glory. So anyways, Amane is back in the Flying Fish Manor.
いやあ、小鳥。ちょっといいかな。何か用か？
So what's up?
これ返そうと思って。イスカの高校日誌じゃないか。
So the log that Kotori used it to write her to-do list.
やっぱり私が持っているのは変でしょ？
But now that you hear you're the advisor, it makes more sense for you to have it.
そんなことないと思うが。あまねちゃんが持っておくべきものだと思う。だってそこに出てくる大親友はあまねちゃんのことなんだから。私ね、実は昔、そんな昔じゃないわ。たった1年前のことよ。学校が大嫌いで友達もいなくて何も楽しいことがなくて、学校を辞めて家に帰ろうとしてたの。そうなのか。友達なら大勢いるじゃないか。学校もいつも楽しそうだ。それはあまねちゃんと出会ってからよ。葵くんがここの寮母になってアゲハと友達になって。
So that was way in the beginning. It's like, well, I didn't really get along with anyone, and I really wanted to quit school. But then I met all of you people, Aoi, Ageha, and Amane-chan. So that kind of encouraged me to stay. So
朝と夜が入部してきて、他にもたくさんの人たちと知り合って、
and now I have friends. So
今じゃやりたいこともたくさんあって、ほんと毎日が楽しいわ。でもその前は思い出すと寒気がするくらいどん底で本気で学校を辞めようとしてたの。でもそれは人生を自分からドブに投げ捨てるようなもので、葵くんがそれを踏みとどまらせてくれたんだけど、葵くんやあまねちゃんと出会う前の私ってほんと嫌な子で友達一人もいなかったのね。そんな私にとってその日記は数少ない救いみたいなものだったの。
that's true.
この日誌がかい？イスカってもしかして友達少なかったんじゃない？
So I like how Kotori's like, well, I feel like Iska's a lot like me.
よくわかったな。友達と呼べそうなのは私と達也くらいだったぞ。
Well, that is true.
やっぱりなんか似てたのよ、そういう雰囲気。本当は友達欲しいくせに自分からは言えなくて隅っこでイジイジしてるような。シンパシーを感じたってやつね。だからね、私 毎日学校から帰ってきてこの部屋でその日記を読みながら、イスカのことを自分の親友だって思うことにしてたの。イスカと一緒に空を飛ぶ夢を見て、自分もグライダー作りに参加してる気分だったわ。そうすることで寂しさを紛らわせてたの。そういえば君はこの日誌を読んでグライダーに興味を持ったって言ってたの。そっか。ずっとイスカと一緒に夢を見ていたのか。日記の中に登場する大親友のことも想像したわ。どんな子なんだろうって。
So I like how Kotori's like, well, I even wonder who this Iska person is like, or what does she look like?
すごく頭が良くて綺麗で、けどちょっと変な子だって書いてあったわ。ああ、私も読んだぞ。その子とも友達になれたらって思ってた。じゃあもう慣れたじゃないか。ええ、なんか変な感じだけど。
But it still feels strange.
本当に君はイスカに導かれてあのガレージへ来たんだな。うん。だから私にとってイスカは大恩人なの。彼女が聞いたら喜ぶだろう。そうかな。それならやっぱりこの日誌は。私のは想像だもの。イスカが一番大切にしていたのはあなたよ、アマネちゃん。イスカが見た夢を見続けるんだったら持っててほしいの。友達として。友達として。もうすぐアマネちゃんがイスカのために設計した翼が完成するわ。
That's true.
テストフライトが楽しみね。
And I can't wait for the test flight.
ああ、楽しみだ。あ、それからこの話誰にもしちゃダメよ。特に葵くんとか絶対笑うから。
Well, it'll be embarrassing if other people find out, so.
笑わないと思うぞ。笑わなくてもダメ。だって恥ずかしいもん。わかった。君と私との秘密だ。
Okay, I will keep it a secret. So I like how they reiterate, like, well, it was the flight log from Iska that gave Kotori the inspiration. And I'm sure in the beginning when Kotori found the flight log, she didn't know it was a flight log. She just wrote stuff on the last page, the to-do list. And it was later when that really big item on the to-do list, it was something that Kotori didn't write, so to soar through the sky. And then when they flip back, it's like, oh, it's a flight log. And Amane was the one to identify that it belonged to Iska. And Kotori's like, well, Iska's a lot like me, and I really wanted to see her someday. So Amane?
Yeah, Aoi-kun.
So I thought there might be some signs of life from her dining hall, and I peeked in, so Amane had her notebook open on the table. So what's going on that's got you here so late? So asked like that, she checked the clock on the wall. So it was already around midnight.
もうこんな時間なのか。
Oh, it's late. It seems she got too focused and forgot about the time, once again. So the notebook she had opened was Iska's flight log. Okay, so I think she wants to read it over again.
小鳥が私が持っておくべきだと言って。
I think that makes sense. I got a drink from the fridge, poured 2 glasses, and put one in front of her.
ありがとう。
So you look really happy when you read this. She laughs and looks impressed, looks perplexed, sad, and twists her face as if to retch. Well, maybe it's because the time you spent with Iska was so happy. So that was a little painful for me. So the most precious time for Amane was not by the time with me, but the time she spent with her friend Iska. But this was something, or was not something I wanted to say. It was just jealousy. And I still have our future ahead of us.
イスカは私に色をくれた。
So, color?
彼女と出会う以前、私の世界はモノトーンだった。
What do you mean? The world was monotone.
そのまんまだ。私には世界がそう見えていたんだ。
So she must mean that the world looked like black and white. Or a black and white video.
別に色を認識できないわけじゃない。リンゴは赤く見えるし、晴れた空は青く映る。けど、感じないんだ。色を。多分私が楽しんでいなかったせいなんだと思う。
So in short, I was bored. Wait, you weren't? She nods gently.
以前の私は、この世界に正しい答えは一つだと思っていた。どんな問いにも本当に正しい答えは一つ。それが当然だと信じて疑ってなかった。そんな私にイスカが言ったんだ。バカだなって。
Dumb, she says. Or stupid.
ああ、バカだ。
Amane told me of these memories happily somehow and with pride.
初めてだったんだ。人からバカと言われたのは。それまで誰もが私に対しては賢いだの天才だのとしか言わなかったから。
So since a young age, Amane was probably hailed as a child prodigy by all those around her. And no doubt, there was no one who called that child dumb. However, Iska was wrong. She probably just said it like it was nothing.
私は当然わからなかった。なぜ私がバカと言われたのか。
Okay?
すると、イスカはこんな風に続けた。正しいとか間違ってるとか、僕はないと思う。それを決められるのは自分だけだ。だってそうだろ？誰かにとって正しくても、他の誰かにとって間違ってるってことはたくさんあるんだ。だから僕は、僕にとって何が正しいか、他人に決められるのなんてごめんだね。迷った時は、自分の心に耳を澄ませるといい。あんたの正しい答えは、そこにある。
Well, that's,
君にも同じことを言われたな。
So when she refused to be our advisor, I said something similar to that. But I was desperate then. It's not like I was thinking that deeply.
イスカの話を聞いて、正直、すごいショックを受けた。だって、試験の問題には正答は一つだけ。それが全世界共通のルールだと信じていたから。けどイスカは、そんな私を笑い飛ばして、正しい答えは人の数だけあるという。それで思ったんだ。彼女こそ天才なんじゃないかって。
So I'm happy to have Iska with me. So come to think of it, Amane did say every time that Iska is a genius.
イスカが教えてくれたんだ。私はバカだって。いやー、危なかったよ。イスカが気づかせてくれなかったら、今もまだ私は天才かもって勘違いしていたところだ。
Again, she talks joyfully. She often said things like, well, that's because I'm dumb and whatnot. But at that time, she was always proud.
イスカは他にもたくさんのことを教えてくれた。風の匂いや降り注ぐ日の光の心地よさや雨の日の憂鬱や冬の寒い日に飲む温かい紅茶の味や授業をサボることやいたずらをすることや学校を抜け出してコンビニへ行くことや。
You're like headed down a slippery slope there.
校舎が建て替わる前はガレージの裏に抜け道があってそこから外へ出られたんだ。よくコンビニへ出かけて夏ならアイスクリーム冬はほかほかの肉まんを食べたぞ。
So mine's trying to remember the old days of what happened in the soaring club. So she looks like any second now she's going to be slobbering and drooling over that food. So maybe at that time she really loved to eat. And the story of someone or some very precious memories, but looking at it from the outside, it's like a bad student taught a bunch of naughty stuff to a good one.
正しいことと間違っていること、いいことと悪いこと、役に立つものと立たないもの。物事をそんな風にしか捉えていなかった私に、イスカはそうじゃないものがあることを教えてくれた。世界のほとんどはそうじゃなかったんだ。そう思えるようになってから世界が輝き出した。小さなきらめきをそこかしこに見つけられるようになった。イスカが私の世界に色をくれた。
So she tells me about these precious memories with her eyes shining. And looking at the profile of her face, I love her, I thought. So like a boy, my clear eyes are full of curiosity looking up towards the sky, retaining innumerable countless lights. And I came to like and long for Amane's profile. It could be that she really is an unmistakable genius. However, there was no doubt that because of that, everything was in a sort of planned harmony. And regardless of whether or not she can do things, she understands the results. She doesn't enjoy anything and she has no interests. And that may be why she felt like her world was monotone. So meeting Iska was the key to Amane becoming who she is today. So Iska is a good friend and a benefactor. She nods deeply. However, those eyes were soon clouded with sadness.
けれど、イスカはいなくなってしまった。
But unfortunately, that's past. So she's not here anymore. And I wonder why. So we keep hearing about this in the common route. And even Tatsuya won't answer.
何も言わず、唐突に。あの日から、私の世界はモノトーンに戻った。
So as she turned her face, those excited eyes that were so full of hope became the profile of a face soaken in sadness. So seeing that reminded me of something Anshan told me once. So after Iska was gone, Amane changed. She didn't approach people anymore. So he says that's how they drifted apart. I can't imagine her that way now, but... So when I asked her to be our club advisor, I did sort of get that feeling. It was like she was purposefully trying to distance herself from us. But even still, you continue to make the glider on your own. So in silence, Amane continues to flip through the diary until she stopped at the last page. Her eyes fell on the words written there. So I want to pass through the passage of clouds. So you can see Kotori's little to-do list, and
イスカは約束してくれたんだ。私をあの雲の上へ連れて行ってくれるって。
so everything except for the very first item is marked done.
別に行きたくないという私に、そこへ行けば私も絶対感動するからと言って、私はイスカがいつ戻ってきてもいいようにグライダー制作を続けた。けど本当はなんとなく分かっていたんだ。イスカはもう戻ってこないと。
So then why? So why did she continue to stay in the garage?
あの約束が続く限り、イスカと過ごした時間の中にとどまれる。
So Amane kept thinking,
そう
well,
思っていたんだ。
at some point, Iska will return and I'll make the glider ready so that they can fly.
けれど、何事にも最後の時は訪れる。
And I wonder how many years Amane waited for that moment to occur. So when we flew last year, that day, Amane nods. So as she watched the clouds disappear, she muttered, "This is goodbye." So that was probably the resolution to her time with Iska, the transition of that time into memory. And so that's why you try to refuse becoming our supervisor or our advisor.
はあ、イスカとの思い出に触れるのが辛かったんだ。
Because I didn't want to be reminded of all those sad memories. So as she speaks in the apologetic tone, I clasp her hand softly. So in order to tell her that there's no need to feel that way, but then why did you come back then?
楽しんでいたことを思い出したんだ。
But on the other hand, we had fun.
飛ぶように設計したグライダーが飛ぶ。当たり前のことなのに、不思議とドキドキする。あの気持ちを、葵くんや小鳥やみんなが思い出させてくれた。そして気がついたんだ。私にとって大切な時間は、イスカと過ごした日々だけじゃないって。その時間はまだ終わってなかったって。私が勝手に終わったと思っていただけで、葵くんたちはまだ続けていた。私のせいでガレージもグライダーも失ったのに、それでもまだそこにいてくれた。
So I put some strength into my hands as I clasped Amane's hand. We continued on, and I have thought time and again whether or not that was the right thing to do. So I wonder if it was okay to stick with the Soaring Club and try our best to save it from being destroyed and to get Amane back or have her be our advisor. So if I wanted to fly glider, there were other ways, and there are plenty other fun activities to find if I look. I wonder what, maybe the drama club like their homeroom teacher? But I could not let go. So just like Amane, when she couldn't let go of her promise with Iska, it's too important to want to let go of it. Hey, so you're our senior, or senpai, so we listen to everything you say. If you teach us to be dumb, we'll be dumb.
本当だな。
Really?
みんなバカばっかりだ。
So Amane suddenly laughs and wipes a tear from the corner of her eye with a finger.
テストフライトが今から楽しみなんだ。みんながやってきたことが形になる瞬間が。
the dream you two left to us.
夢か。
So she muttered and traced the edge of the notebook with her finger. And it could be that she's still hesitant to face her memories of Iska. Well, how do you see the world now? So is it monotone or is it colored up? She stares blankly at me. She stares at me and then returns the hand I held hers with.
ピンク色にキラキラしてる。
Pink? Huh? So what does pink mean? The answer I got back was a little different from what I expected. So color or monotone?
葵くんといるといつもピンク色だ。空気を吸い込むと甘い香りがするんだ。
Oh yeah. So if I prodded too deeply, I might have spoiled the emotional conversation we just had. Well, it's late, so I'm gonna get going. So when I stood up, Amane, still sitting, held my hand and looked at me with apparent disappointment that I was leaving. So I took a quick look at the dining hall entrance and leaned over. So, a kiss before I leave? Okay, that's a goodnight kiss. I said shyly. Amane smiled and looked satisfied. Okay, I'm going home. Or maybe to his room.
わかった。おやすみ。
So she said and slouched onto the desk. Wait, what are you doing?
だから寝るんじゃないか。
So I'm gonna sleep. Hey, why don't you go back to your room and sleep there?
寝る場所がないんだ。
So why not?
面目ない。
So her room was buried under heaps of work-related documents and materials. She lost any space to sleep. So I wonder if the room is too small or Amane had too much equipment and paperwork. So wait, the dining hall table is not a place to sleep.
どうしてだ？扇風機があるし、広々としてて意外と快適だぞ。
Well, this person. Okay, so I'll have you sleep in my bed.
いいのか？
Yeah, I'll sleep on the floor then. And we do see that he has some kind of cushion to help him comfort. So I can't let her sleep in the dining hall, but it's also midnight and we can't clean up her room either. Okay, so there is place for Amane to sleep. It just needs to be cleaned up. All the paperwork put away.
君はベッドで寝ないのか？
Nope.
私が床で寝ようか。これでも床で寝るのには慣れているぞ。ラボで鍛えたからな。
Well, that's how I used to do it in the lab, so I sleep on the floor. There's nothing to brag about. Look, I'm on the floor, so you're on the bed. So that's how they do it in the movies.
そうか。映画ではそういうことになっているのか。なら仕方ないな。
So it's,
葵くんに甘えよう。
okay, so it's forced reasoning, but it seems she consented. Sweetly whispering goodnight to me, she got into bed. And 3 seconds later, she goes to sleep. What? So she's already asleep? She was really good at falling asleep. And I wanted another kiss goodnight. So I kissed Amane on the cheek as she slept deeply and went to sleep under my blankets on the floor. So I don't think Amane has slept in the bed that much. And probably when she was in the lab, she was sleeping on the floor, on the lab bench, and probably never went home. So it doesn't really. It's kind of new for Amane to learn how to sleep in a bed. Okay, so next day, from morning on, that day was mostly sunny.
オーライストップ。
出る準備はできてるのか？
Okay, so it looks like they're ready to do test flights, and now they're taking the glider to the runway with the help of Tatsuya. So Anchan got out of the pickup truck that pulled up to the front of the garage. Yeah, so we're already done loading up.
よし、じゃあ車につないでくれ。
So Ageha connects the trailer to the back of the pickup. So the glider is loaded into the trailer.
ついにできたんだな。
Okay, we got it. Yep. So we finished the improvements late last night. And though we had some unexpected trouble that took some tending to, we worked hard late into the night so we could have the test flight on time. So starting today, we face the runway. And then we fly.
できたよ、あんちゃん。
よし、じゃあ行くか。
Okay, let's go! Okay. So Kotori was waiting at the runway. She had gone ahead to prepare the winch and whatnot. Anchan stopped the truck that was pulling the trailer by the side of the runway.
早速組み立てるわよ。
So at club leader Kotori's command, everyone splits up and starts the glider's assembly. So wings attached, the control surfaces, the tail fins, and so we unload the piles of disassembled parts from the trailer.
姉さん、そっち持って。あ、うん。よいしょ。ぶつけちゃダメよ。慎重にね。
So we finished the improvements to the craft last night. So we haven't yet seen it all put together.
違う。そっちじゃないって。もっと下げて根元の方を。
So we haven't done this in a year either. So while recalling how we did it last summer, we teach this to the new members, Asa and Yoru. And what about Mane?
ようやく形になったんだな。
あ
どうだ、気分は。
あ、なんだか不思議な気持ちだよ。つい最近まで私にとってこのグライダーは架空の存在だった。ただの思いつき、幻の翼。
ああ。けど、あいつらが本当に作っちまった。
But don't forget, they made them.
さっきから心臓がドキドキうるさいんだ。気分が落ち着かなくて困る。
ワクワクしてるんだな。
うん。でも不安もある。
どうして？
私にとってあのグライダーはイスカとの夢のかけらが形になったようなものだから。
そうだったな。
できました。よーし、組み立て完了。
Okay, so we're done. So let's see how the glider looks. So there was the form of the white glider on the carpet-like green summer grass that had overgrown onto the runway. It was a streamlined body, and they protruded out in front those giant wings. And the newborn aircraft, bathed in the summer sunlight, sparkled so much that it was blinding.
へえ。
So it's the first time for the first years to see the assembled glider up close. So the aircraft, warped by the enormity of the wings, made their eyes sparkle as they stared.
こんななんだ。
So that's what it looks like.
綺麗な機体だね。
So the third years were all affected the same. And they looked at the aircraft they had made as it were a gift that had fallen from the heavens.
それじゃあ早速発行準備に取り掛かりましょ
Well, anyways, let's get ready. And with those words, everyone came back to their senses. So we didn't come here to build it and then stare at it all day long. We're going to fly. Now, in with this glider.
う。葵、コックピットお願い。
Roger. I got into the cockpit and started to check the flight controls. So this is the aircraft's first flight since the improvements, so I do the pre-flight check very carefully. And while Ageha confirms the items to be checked, she explains the necessity of it to Asa and Yori.
どうですか先輩
So how is it, senpai?
どこも問題は見当たらない
Good, no problems. So finally, Amane, having had a look over the check, is finished. And then, with the flight preparations ready,
おーい
おホタルたちだ
so the other people want to see it as well. So Masatsugu, Hotaru, and for some reason, Akari shows up at the runway.
いらっしゃいあんたたち
おい見に来てやったぜ
グライダーできてる
So Masatsugu and Hotaru saw the glider and yelled out happily.
おはようございます皆さんおはよう生徒会長どうしてあなたがいるの田崎くんから今日テストフライトをすると伺ったのでお邪魔じゃなければ見学させてもらってもいいかしら
So Kotori grins, hearing that.
もちろんよ私たちの作ったグライダーを見ていくといいわ
So Kotori made a face like she was eager to show off. And we all felt the same way, so Kotori was pretty much speaking for all of us.
あんちゃん
よう、お前らも来たのか。
散々アゲハにこき使われたからな
あ、聞いたぞ。頑張ったんだってな、お前ら。
So Anchan pats Hotaru and Masatsugu on their heads. And they both look happy to be praised by him.
よーしじゃあ飛ぶか葵いける
Anytime!
後部座席はどうするんですか
So what about the back seat?
そりゃあやっぱり私はいいぞ遠慮しなくていいのよあまねちゃんせっかくなんだから最初に乗せてもらいなさいよ誰が遠慮なんかするものか頼まれたって私は乗らな
So
いぞ
not me. She said stubbornly. Her fear of heights hasn't changed a bit in the last year. I was really looking forward to our date in the sky, but I guess that's not gonna happen.
じゃあ小鳥乗
Okay,
れば
then you, Kotori.
いいの部長なんだしねえ葵
Yep, that's right. And I promised last year too. So when I got my pilot license, I promised her I would take her with me first once I was able to pilot the glider on my own.
じゃあ朝ちゃん夜ちゃん小鳥後ろに積み込むから手伝って人荷物みたいに言うな
Okay, so I wonder what Amane's thinking of. And I noticed that I'm at about an hour for this episode, so I'm going to leave the rest to the next episode, and we'll see how the test flight goes with their new improved glider, based on a design that Amane never thought of it coming to life. So she only drew on paper, it's like, well, it works in theory. And then Ageha, Kotori, Aoi, and the others brought that theory to the test. So, despite Iska, well, actually Amane being really smart as a genius, the things that she's way too much into numbers and theory and proving everything to be true with only one answer. And we can see from those past memories that Iska was very optimistic and had all these big dreams and really tried her best to pull Amane into it. It's like, well, there's more to life than just what you're doing. So research, science, discovering new things. And it is quite sad that Iska, for some reason, disappeared. And it explains why Amane is feeling all gloomy, all depressed, and reverting to her monotone viewpoints. So, anyways, with that in mind, I'll see you in the next episode.